What is going on, everybody? Zyonik here, and in today's video we're going to talk about the teams that got me the most wins in the Great League from Season 1. I think this is going to be a good starting point when it comes to Season 2, but we know there are changes to moves and stuff, so we will likely see new, strong, dominant teams rise, especially with that wild charge change. I suspect that Alolan Raichu is going to be pretty strong, but I just wanted to talk about some of the best teams that I've run. Now, we finished off Season 1 with 28-26 rating, so we did not hit rank 10. Sadly, I struggled there at the end, kept fluctuating up and down between high 2700 and 2900. So it was a battle there, but that doesn't mean that I can't do well in Season 2, right? Same for you guys. If you guys didn't achieve the goals that you had set out for Season 1, we can restart. Season 2, here we come. We did end up going 347 wins out of 608 battles, which is a 57% win rate, which is pretty good, right? 50% of the time you're basically gonna lose leads, so 7% of those battles I was able to turn around. Now I'd really like to increase that. I'd like to see myself get to maybe 65% win rate, which is gonna be very, very tough to do. But what we're gonna talk about today is teams that help me do well and help me climb in the rankings. Now these teams are not the most spicy. I definitely believe that the higher you want to go in the rankings, the more funneled you kind of need to be towards the meta, or have Pokemon that hard counter those meta Pokemon. I think that's the ultimate goal, because people who are ranked 10 and climbing on leaderboards, they're not using crazy Pokemon. I mean, they could every now and then, but I know they're running solid teams up there, and it comes down to skill and decisions for climbing rank. Now, there are plenty of spicy Pokemon that you guys can use, and there's plenty of videos on the channel seeing things like Noctowl or maybe Alomomola or something like that, some crazy Pokemon. But today's teams are my most successful teams from Season 1. Now, starting things off with this first team, this was my most recent team that I've used, and I've actually really enjoyed it. This team has a lot of great coverages, a lot of synergy and diversity, but that is Lapras, Meganium, and Defense Form Deoxys. Lapras is a fantastic anti-flyer. On top of that, with the move of Skull Bash, it can handle Azumarill, and then Surf as well is really nice chip damage against Registeels, and as long as we can take out the flyer, Meganium has a very high probability of sweeping endgame, which is what this team is built about. So we have Meganium with Vine Whip, Frenzy Plant, Earthquake, and then Defense Form Deoxys, counter Rock Slide, Psycho Boost. Now, what I really love about this team is its ability to come back from lead losses. As you guys see here, we're leading against Registeel, which is very bad, but because of the moves that we have on Defense Form Deoxys, the goal is to draw out a flyer or draw out the direct counter. In this case, it's going to be Haunter, which is what Psycho Boost is there for. It can do hard-hitting, super effective damage to a Haunter, which is why it's going to force shields. And then this team can really come back from a bad lead loss. And I've actually been able to do it multiple times. Yesterday, I did all 5 sets of my battles with this team. I did 3 sets of 3-2 and 2 sets of 4-1. And then today, I did 1 set of 3-2. And it's a lot of lead losses, but it can come back from that. Lapras has some fantastic bulk. And overall, I think the team is pretty strong. Now, when it comes to Season 2, there can always be changes in the meta. I think Wild Charge is going to be pretty big when it comes to the Great League. So something like Alolan Raichu is going to definitely rise, and that could put a hurt on this team, especially against that Lapras. The Wild Charge is going to be hitting extremely hard. So take this team with a grain of salt. This is just what has helped me in Season 1, and we will look to the future in Season 2 to see what are going to be the developing and best teams. But this is definitely a great start. Now, Defense Form Deoxys was an EX raid Pokemon. There's really no way to get it now. And then Lapras requires that Ice Shard fast move, which is Legacy. Do not go for Frost Breath or anything like that. You have to have Ice Shard. This is what this team synergy needs. It needs these specific moves in order to work well because of the toolkit that they bring against the meta. And as you see here, this is why Meganium can sweep endgames, because so many people run that Registeel Azumarill core because it is very, very strong. Meganium can sweep that endgame with shield advantage, like you guys are seeing right here, because it is so bulky, right? It can survive an Ice Beam from Azumarill, which is huge. Its ability to soak this Ice Beam and then farm down and then fire off an Earthquake, which does super effective damage against Registeel, is very pivotal when it comes to the Great League battles, as the meta does revolve around around Registeel and Azumarill. So solid team right here, great investments, and let's talk about the next team. All right, so this next team we have is a very, very bulky team, has a lot of great coverage moves. It's a Registeel Azumarill core, like you guys know, but this Hypno is actually running Focus Blast, Shadow Ball. What I found on the safe swap with the Registeel lead is that it'll likely draw out something that can beat a Hypno potentially, and that's what the Focus Blast Shadow Ball is there for, to hit against Ghost, hit against Dark types, and it's really strong, and people are not ready for it. Typically, Hypnos run a punch, so either Ice Punch and Thunder Punch, and then a Shadow Ball as well, so Registeels are not ready for the Focus Blast, which is why Hypno can sneak that by, especially in a farm down situation. Now, as we see here on the lead, we lose lead against Alolan Raichu. This is not a good game, but what I'm planning to do is actually farm energy on Hypno. That's the big take from this, is that when he has a lot of energy, he can hit really, really hard, which is really awesome, and I love Hypno as a safe switch option or a lead, because he's just so bulky and he provides a lot of great coverage. Azumarill again running Bubble, Ice Beam, Hydro Pump. I honestly think unless you are leading with an Azumarill, you need to have Ice Beam and Hydro Pump. The lead Azumarills could have Play Rough for mirrors, and like you guys are going to see right here, Registeels are not ready for it to have Focus Blast. Everyone assumes it's going to be a Shadow Ball and a Punch, which is why I ran it with Hypno, or with Focus Blast, is because Registeels are not ready. As you guys can see right there, they just aren't, and now that we have basically Shield advantage and the best counter for Azumarill is gone, I'm just going to assume that whatever they have in the back, my Azumarill can beat with shields, which is why I just go for the farm down right there. So even with losing lead, you guys can come back, and as we see, it's the mirror right there. Alolan Raichu was put in on the lead to beat Registeels and Azumarills. That's what it's built for, so I wasn't too worried, but I was coming into shield advantage here. And then Registeel, you need to have the fast move of Lock On. It is so strong, and then Flash Cannon Focus Blast is definitely the ideal moveset. And yeah, this team's pretty strong. It's very, very bulky, very forgiving. You can soak a lot of charge moves, and this is a good, I think, probably starting team. If you have access to these Pokemon, this is going to be a great team to learn with, because not everything is going to one-shot you, basically. There are a lot of moves that could do quite a bit of damage, but you can learn with this team, which I think is really good, because Hypno Shadow Balls won't be one-shotting it, you know, Frenzy Plants from Meganium or Venusaur won't be one-shotting Azumarill. Earthquakes or Focus Blast won't be one-shotting Registeel when you're at full health. And as we see here, we're just able to basically safely take down this Azumarill because we managed our shields well and saved it for our own Azumarill at the end here. So we're just going to be getting off the Ice Beam. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about these teams. And this Azumarill is going to wrap up this battle, and we're going to talk about the next team. All right, moving into the next team here, it's Defense Form Deoxys, Skarmory, and Umbreon. This team is really, really solid, and again can come back from lead losses, as you guys are seeing, but it's very pivotal that your Umbreon has Last Resort. That's the only way you can really come back, as you guys are going to see in this matchup against Azumarill, which is technically a losing matchup. When we have enough energy with Last Resorts, we can actually win out this fight, because the Azumarills are typically not going to shield until the very end, and we can outpace the Azumarill in terms of charge moves, and Last Resort is going to do enough damage for us. As you guys will see, the Azumarill is now low, so we can go ahead and shield right here and then outpace it and win switch advantage back in our own favor. We're going to be going for Last Resort, but yeah, this definitely requires that Umbreon has Last Resort. You can't really get around it. And then Defense Form Deoxys is very rare, but if you have it, it's a great Pokemon leading with Rock Slide and Thunderbolt. It provides you with great coverages to Pokemon like Altaria, Azumarill, Skarmory, just really solid overall. On top of that, it can handle Registeels, and then fast move on Umbreon. Definitely want that Snarl. As you guys are able to see, we're actually able to get 2 Foul Plays off, which gets Registeel to 50% health. This is why this team's dynamic has good synergies together, because it's not like we need the hardest counter to take out a Registeel. As a group, this team can take out those meta Pokemon that we are seeing, the counter, the Foul Play, and then now we know the Shift Tree is going to be coming back in. So we're going to go ahead and basically shield right here, go for Rock Slide to force that next shield because that's what I need to do. And then Skarmory now can clean up. Registeel is low enough that Skarmory could take it out, and we're just going to be going for fast moves. With Skarmory, you want Air Slash, Flash Cannon, and Sky Attack. Air Slash, going to be able to do a ton of work to Grass-type Pokemon, completely farm down, and like you guys are going to see, Registeel is now low enough. We can go for Sky Attacks right here, chip away at its health, and force it to use its shield, but we're actually going to just be able to finish off with fast moves right here. So I really like this team, and let's go ahead. All right, next up we have Registeel, Azumarill, Haunter. Like I said earlier, Registeel, Azumarill cores are just so strong, and when you lose lead and bring in an Azumarill like we do right here, when they bring in a grass type Pokemon like Venusaur, you can definitely threaten with Ice Beam, especially when you're ahead on energy. You can really apply a lot of pressure, and when shields are down, Haunter is probably one of the deadliest Pokemon in the Great League to watch out for because its moveset can destroy just about everything. So as you guys are going to see right here, Venusaur is going to be taking us out, and this is where we bring in our Haunter, or Registeel I should say, to absorb the energy, and then we see the swap to Medicham, and this is where Haunter can become out of control. We can farm down a little bit, we shield up, and then finish off with Shadow Punch right here, and now my opponent is basically asking for it from the Haunter. So if you guys have never tried Haunter in the Great League, it is fantastic. It can resist grass type moves as well with that poison typing, so we're able to survive a Frenzy Plant right there. And you may be asking why Haunter instead of Gengar, and that's because of its ability to get more stats in the Great League than a Gengar. And then Registeel closing up as well. One of the hardest hitting charge moves in the game going to be that Focus Blast against tanks. So overall, a really solid team, and I would highly suggest running this if you can. And let's go ahead and talk about the next team. Next up, we have a team created by House Stark. If you guys didn't know, House Stark was the first person in the world in Season 1 to hit rank 10. He hit it back when Great League was out. Before Ultra League, Master League, and all three leagues, he won with this team. Toxicroak lead with Registeel and Azumarill. Now, Toxicroak does fantastic in the Great League because it can tear apart that Registeel Azumarill core with the counter Mud Bomb and Sludge Bomb damage. And then Azumarill as well can put so much pressure on things like Tropius, like we are seeing right here. And then Registeel, as you guys know, is fantastic. So I know a lot of these teams have Registeel and Azumarill in them, but for good reason, everyone. If you are wanting to climb your way up and get to that next level when it comes to the rank or whatever you want to achieve, going hard meta is a good way to do it. Mastery is key, and these Pokemon can definitely rise you up in those ranks. Now, that doesn't mean we can't win with other Pokemon, not at all. I believe every Pokemon has its role in the Great League, but just Registeel Azumarill is really tough to beat, and it does fantastic. So as you guys are seeing, he is able to wins that switch advantage, which is really key, because he lost that lead pretty hard against the Swampert right there. Now, Focus Blast, able to do a ton of damage against Registeel. But yeah, this team is really good. And what I will say is when you guys find a team that you like and it has the coverages that you need, use that team day in and day out, because mastery is going to get you farther than constantly changing your teams. Now, all these teams I'm showcasing you are just examples or great examples you can use. But yeah, these teams are pretty strong. This one in particular is very strong. Toxicroak does just so much damage. So yeah, that's House Stark's team. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Just a little look back at the best teams that gave me the most success. But be sure to let me know down in the comments what teams are giving you guys the most success, because there is no perfect team in the Great League. There is just great coverages, and there's a lot of different teams that you guys can run. So I wish you guys all the best in Season 2. It's going to be starting here soon. And like always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.